there world, I'm the Courageous Goldfish, and welcome back to yet another video on my wildly inconsistent and sometimes questionable figure review channel. Yet again, today we are here to talk about figures that I wish that I had in my collection. Half the fun of this hobby is in hunting for your grails and imagining on a grander scale what your collection would be like, and I think that that is definitely a way that people burn out super fast if they're just like continuously buying their grails. Then they have no like higher accolade, nothing to get excited about anymore, you know? Yearly we like to sit down and do this most wished figures video. Generally there's no rhyme or reason to doing it when I do it, but today I actually have a specific purpose for wanting to make this video. But for those of you that don't know, my figure collection is like a forum, I guess, website that a lot of figure collectors can go to log their collections, to keep track of their pre-orders, talk to the wider community. They also have a wished folder, so you're able to sort things that you would like to have for your collection. Makes hunting for things easier, makes looking at drafts for new figures way easier. And so today basically we are going to go through my wished category of like released figures that I'm hunting for and also drafts that I'm really excited about. But now back to this whole like purpose of why I'm here today thing. Some of you may know that Winter Wonhobby is next weekend. Oh my god, exciting. So basically I just wanted to take some time today to sit down with you guys ahead of the upcoming Wonhobby, talk about what I'm excited about, talk about what I'm going to be looking for. I'm also going to be participating in like the bingo card thing. So like at the end of this video I'm going to make up like a little bingo card. I don't know, it's just, I've never made one before and I kind of want to feel included, so I'm gonna do one this time. I feel like it's been a while since I've checked in about like figures on the back burner, but I also realize that there are some figures in this list that have been there basically since I started this channel. So you've heard me talk about them like 100 million times, and I'm not gonna go and like waste your time talking about them for like a third, fourth, and fifth time. So basically I'm only really gonna get super into it if I feel like I have something to say, not necessarily because they're any less wished than others. I try not to rank it that way, but just so you know, I'm not sidelining anybody. I'm just letting some other figures into the light of day, so to speak. So basically the reason why I said that is because this is one of such figures. I have wanted this figure basically since I started collecting. She's super cheap on the aftermarket, and I have said multiple times, I have no idea why I don't own this already. And that is still true. I still do not know why I don't own this. This is Miku to me. Like when I picture Miku in my brain, this is it. Like this is just the nostalgia, the pose, the art style. Immaculate, beautiful. I don't know why I don't have this. This fits my collection perfectly, and yet somehow I can't bring myself to pay shipping for her. We'll get this one out of the way right off the bat as well. This is the X+1/7 scale Ursa Scarlet. Again, one of those ones that's been on the list for like 50 million years. The stupid part is that this figure has actually been available on AmiAmi for like a month and a half. No one has bought her because she's unopened, going for like, she started off at 34K. And I was like, yikes, ain't no way. They've just been like slowly chiseling her price down as she doesn't sell. So I believe now she's around 31, which is still a lot for this figure. I cannot bring myself to pay it. Apparently I don't want her that badly because she's really hard to find, and this listing's been up for like a month and I still haven't like, I don't know. As soon as she gets sold though, you know that instant regret is gonna set in and I'm like, why didn't I just buy her? I think the thing about it as well is that this one is like one of the oldest of my wished figures. This one's 2015, which is not that long ago, but like long enough that if I bought an unopened version of this figure, I would be a little bit afraid that she'd be sticky. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know if that's the way for me. This one as well used to be, or like, I don't know, I guess probably still is my holiest of grails, which seems like a really high accolade to give this figure specifically, because I feel like he's just kind of boring, but he's the only figure of this character and I love this show. So I'm like, this is the pinnacle for me. Like I feel like I don't know how to explain how I feel about this figure because I need him. Every time I look at him, I'm like, yes, need that. Love that for my collection. He fits in super well with some of the other figures that I have. And I just, for some reason, can't bring myself to like actually legitimately, seriously hunt for him. A, because he's expensive, and B, also because I don't even know if I like this much. I think I'm just really attached to the character, and therefore I feel motivated to buy it. This one, I believe I have talked about a couple of times before, but to be honest, I didn't really find myself extremely sold on trying to pick her up until recently, and I'll tell you why. A, because I did pre-order the Max Factory Strawberry Shortcake Bustier girl. Oh my god, so excited for that figure. She's probably gonna be my favorite of the year. So clearly, they both fit in the same aesthetic, and so if I want to build a shelf, I feel like they'd look really nice together. You know what I mean? Can you see the vision? And number two, because I am a recently new patron of Gwen Collects' Patreon. Love Gwen, love her content, love her energy, and so it was kind of like, I was sick in bed one day and I was like, I want to watch some Gwen Collect. And so I signed up for the Patreon, binge watched all of her lewd figure videos, and suddenly decided that I maybe like lewd figures, question mark? So I feel like maybe it's just like a phase that I'm going through, because I really don't find myself feeling like I'll ever be a lewd figure collector or consider myself one. But I don't know. It's got me looking at this figure a little bit differently. And she's also not supremely expensive. I know a lot of binding figures do go up in the aftermarket, like Caroline Yuri. Oh my god. Oh my god, she just got re-released and she's already like crazy. So this one feels like it could be a jumping off point if I decided I wanted to go that way. This one I have talked about before as well. I've cooled off on it a lot more since when I first put it in the wish list, but I haven't cooled down enough to feel justified taking it out of the wished category. You know what I mean? Like, there'd have to be a very specific instance in which I would be like, yeah, I'll buy this. You know what I mean? Like, there's just other figures that I'm more excited about and ones that I would rather put the money towards than these. They're cute though, and I did really love this show, and I love magical girls, so I think that was just kind of like from the frame of mind of trying to like keep my collection in a certain theme. I don't know. I feel like this is the ghost of old figure collecting me. You know what I mean? I've evolved, I've matured, but I'm not quite ready to let go. This one, on the other hand, I am gonna love until the day that I die. I am forever gonna be sad that I don't have this in my collection. I love her. She's gorgeous. She's stunning, show-stopping, amazing. But I'm just never gonna have her. I'm never gonna have this figure, and I have to be okay with that. She is like $900 to $1,000, and she's made by Bandai. Like, I'd be hard pressed to pay $1,000 for anything. Like, even for Alter, or like My Ethos, which is like the tippity top of reputation, I would still have hesitations paying that much for a PVC figure, okay? So, I'm just never gonna have this. But I would love to. If they ever did a re-release, somehow, by the grace of God, which is not gonna happen, by the way, because she was meant to be exclusive to the fan club, so I'm just never gonna have this figure. This one I am waiting on a re-release for. This is the Lyra with Chikorita by Kotobukiya. It's honestly one of the few Poke Girls that hasn't gotten re-released yet, and so I'm just like hoping and praying that the Koto gods will bless us soon. I don't see it not happening, but it'll take a mental load off of me when I'm able to pre-order this figure and like secure the bag, you know? She's the last Poke Girl that I've wanted, that I'm waiting to get in my collection. I just unboxed Dawn with Turtwig the other day. Oh my god, gorgeous. We'll talk about her later. And the Dawn with Piplup is going up for re-release in May. Super duper excited I get to add that one as well. So once I have this one, please Koto, I'll be satisfied. But honestly, Platinum and Heart Gold were my childhood Pokemon games, and so looking at Lyra, looking at Dawn with Turtwig, I'm like, part of me in some weird psychological sense is like, oh, that's me, right? I don't know. So I get good feelings when I look at this figure, and I want to be able to look at it forever. This one is another Kotobukiya banger. This is the Kocho Shinobu 1/8 scale. I love her. I'm probably gonna have her at some point. I just feel so unmotivated to pick up Demon Slayer figures because they're so like widely available and for pretty cheap. This one retained its value way better than the Alter one did. I think the Alter one is like 7,000 on the aftermarket, maybe, and retailed for like way more than that. And this one retailed for 11, and you can find her pretty readily unopened for like 9,000. So she's retained a little better. I know people really love the Alter one. I just really like the pizzazz that there is here. Like the Alter Shinobu is beautiful, but she's a little bit too like static for me. This is that perfect balance between like serene but still dynamic. And so this one's the winner for me unless something else comes out. And that is probably why I'm hesitating as well, because I know Shinobu has some important arcs coming up. And I don't know if I want to wait until then or what, but I don't know. I'll probably end up with this figure, just so you know. This is the Girls Frontline OTS 14 B-Style quarter scale by Freeing. I don't know what it is. I just really like this figure, and I cannot justify the space that she would take up. Like, sure, it's one thing to justify paying that much for a character that I know nothing about, but then also at the same time she's a quarter scale, and I don't really know if I want to give up that much space in my collection for this figure. I think I'm just attracted to her because she's a pretty lady in a red dress, and I think I've saved a lot of figures like that, and that's probably why. So like, I feel like this is not the one for me. Speaking of red-dressed women, this is honestly the figure announcement that made me realize, oh, I think I just saved that because I like the concept of women in dresses. Because this is basically exactly the same, but like way fancier, and I do honestly like this one a lot more. Obviously, it is just an illustration, but I think it's gonna make a beautiful figure. Apex usually delivers, and also she's gonna be way less expensive because she's a 1/7. So that solves my price issue and my space issue at the same time. So if she turns out nice, oh, and she's an original character, so I don't have to feel any guilt about buying her when I know nothing about her. So, I don't know. Seems like a win-win. Also, we do have to take one moment to talk about Apex because I am filming this on the day that Apex made an announcement for a Hu Tao figure from Genshin Impact. And honestly, I thought Genshin was dead. Like, we haven't gotten like hardly any new announcements for any characters at all. And so I really honestly thought that we were just never gonna get more. But then Apex comes in clutch with Hu Tao. And honestly, depending on how this turns out, I could see myself picking it up. Hu Tao was the first 5-star that I ever pulled for, and she was actually the first one that I ever won as well. So I don't know. This is the 1/8 scale Ursa Scarlet by Belfine. She turned out great. She turned out amazing. And you're probably asking yourself why I didn't pre-order this figure, and it's because I knew that she was gonna drop in the aftermarket. And so far she has been, but not enough for me to justify picking her up. I feel like my sweet spot for picking this one up is like 17 to 18K, maybe. She was 22 new. So I feel like that's an okay margin for me to be like, yeah, this feels okay for me to do. I really do feel like she's gonna tank because all of the other Belfine fairy tale figures have. So I mean, I love her. And every day without her in my collection is like a painful day, but I'm also dedicated to my principles of trying to save money right now, which has really not actually been working out that well for other reasons, other red-haired women reasons that I'm not going to talk about until it happens because I do not want to create any bad judge. I am scared. I am myself. I am crying. I'm not going to talk about it until it happens. But this one's beautiful. I can't wait to have her. Kosaka Wakamo, we just talked about her in my 2024 pre-orders video. Love her, think she's really cool. If she drops in the aftermarket and is easy to obtain, I will grab her. But yeah, there's no way I'm spending $25,000 on a character that I know nothing about. Sorry, I am actually trying to save money. Spirit Tail's Nendoroid. Oh my god, this figure has been taking forever. She has been in draft stage for like so long, like 50 million years. And Belfine really dropped the ball with their Nendoroid. I was so looking forward to that one. They just did her so dirty, man. They just did her so dirty. And so obviously I was like, Spirit Tail better pull through. Like, Spirit Tail is my last freaking hope for a good Nendoroid figure. And then they dropped this. Oh my god. She's so good. She looks amazing. There is nothing that I hate about this. It is perfectly capturing her essence. Looks beautiful. Her face is nice. Her hair looks adorable. Love the base. It is just the right amount of like comic booky without overwhelming the entire thing. Oh, they better be paying these sculptors real good over at Spirit Tail because they are nailing it. Nailing it. There is very little doubt in my mind that I will be pre-ordering this figure. So honestly, she's probably my most anticipated for this upcoming Wonhobby. I really hope they bring her to show off. Hobby Sakura's 1/6 scale cheerleader Aya figure. I have also talked about this one a couple of times. Again, I am in love with good cheerleader figures, and this one has dropped a little bit on the aftermarket. She's gone up a bit since I talked about her last, which is a little unfortunate, but you can find her for around like 14, which was her retail, or I have seen her for 10 to 11 on Mandarake, so I'm just looking for a good deal on her pretty much. But I probably will end up having this one. She's adorable. She's also part of a set. And so there is one up for pre-order right now. I believe her name is Misaki. Yeah, cheerleader Misaki. My least favorite of the three. But again, if they're good, I want a set of them because they'll look great displayed together. And then so far my favorite one is this one. That's still a sculpt. This is cheerleader Riku. I have seen some people hating on the base, but honestly, I think she's adorable. I love the concept of this. She gives me that good cheerleader energy, and I really am excited for this. I'll probably end up pre-ordering this one instead of waiting for her to drop on the aftermarket, so do with that what you will. If I'm gonna have any of them, it's probably gonna be this one. These two are also pretty high up on the list of prayers for this weekend. Panty and Stocking Anarchy, large size pop-up parades. Oh my god, feels like it's been 10 years since these were announced. Please paint them, please bring them. I would love to see them. There is very little world in which I will not buy these, honestly. So all they gotta do is paint them and put them up, okay? You can have my money. Go ahead, take it. Especially for Pop-Up Parade, I have been meaning to check out the large size. I do have one extra large in my collection and I love it. So I feel like these are necessary for the culture. I love Liz. It's my favorite of Marin's cosplays, and I really just think that Spirit Tail has outdone themselves again. Like I said, Spirit Tail better be paying these sculptors because they're really knocking it out of the park recently. Love Nendoroid, love Liz. Really looking forward to seeing this one painted. I love this one. The one that I'm like less so sold on is the Alter one. Actually, like I was really excited when I saw that Alter was picking this one up because Alter is known for their stellar quality and I don't have any Alter figures in my collection yet, and so I'm thinking to myself, this is gonna be my first Alter figure. She's okay, she's nice, she's fine, but honestly, like nothing beats Spirit Tail. Like she jumped straight out of the anime. Look at that. Oh my god, she's so gorgeous. Is she gonna be stupid expensive? Yeah, you get this whole entire base going on. Spirit Tail is not known for their budget pricing, okay? But she's just so good. Like, she looks so good. This is a recent and sort of wishy-washy addition to the Wished. That's a tongue twister. This is the A to Z S I Delight figure 1/7 scale. I don't know what it is about this figure. I like her. She's just funky. It's probably the big ass sword. We know I like my women with swords. But I don't know, there's just something about this that I'm like, I like this. But I'm not quite there in feeling like I need to have her. The reason why she is saved to this wished folder is because I think that she would go really well with another figure that I am so stoked about, and that is the False Lander Ronin by Katakawa. I'm So freaking excited for this figure. You guys do not even understand. She is so cool to me. The other Fall Slander figures have been like nice, but they haven't really been my thing. This feels like my thing for some reason. This speaks to me and I can't wait. I love her so much. Some people were saying her face is a little bit weird. Honestly, you're not really gonna be focusing on that anyway. So even if she is a little bit ugly, depending on how ugly, I could probably overlook it. I just think she's really cool. Speaking of Fall Slander, there is another draft in my wish here, and it is the Shinobi by Amakuni and Hobby Japan. If I'm gonna pick up Ronin, I'm gonna need some cool ladies to go with her. And who better than Shinobi? She's adorable. I love her. I don't know why these two specifically are speaking to me, but I do quite like them. Amakuni is also pretty well known for their sculpting ability as well, if I'm not mistaken. So she might be a little expensive, but she might just be worth it. 1/6 scale Weishni by Good Smile Company. They also announced these like 10 million years ago and nobody cares about Ruby anymore, and so they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on this one. They should have had this ready for when the season was airing. I think that they expected it to catch on a lot more than it did. I have really not seen anybody talking about this, so like Ruby has a very dedicated core fan base that's always going to be excited about their stuff. But again, like I said, it's small, right? Like only the people that really love Ruby are going to care about this, and I feel like they could have made it a bigger release if they had been a little more timely, because even if you did spare the time to give this a watch, it's probably been wiped from your brain. It wasn't really that memorable, and so I don't know. I find myself getting less and less excited about them. Still love Weiss though, and so we'll see how she turns out, but I did originally also have Blake in my wished category, and I've since let that go. I just feel like I don't really need her. It's been too long. There was a point in time which they could have sold me on this, but that time has passed. Kadokawa's 1/7 scale Ai Hoshino. I just love Oshi no Ko. It's like one of my favorite shows I've watched in years, and I'm so excited for season 2, and I just need good Oshi no Ko figures in my life. I am such an easy sell on Oshi no Ko stuff right now. Anybody wants to come and take my money, they can have it, okay? Kadokawa, it was the first, okay? So I feel like a lot of people pre-ordered this because it was the first. I don't think that this is the best I can get. So that's why I've held off, because she was pretty inexpensive, to be honest. She was like, oh no, she was 19K? Really? I thought she was like 14. Never mind, 19 is a lot to pay for this. Speaking of Oshi no Ko though, okay? Prisma Wing, a couple of Wonhobbies ago, brought this draft. And at the time it was pretty panned. A lot of people were like, I hate her, she looks boring, she looks terrible, why is she kneeling, da 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 da, etc, etc. I love her. I think she's so cool. I also especially appreciate the kneeling pose because I feel like that makes her play really nicely with other figures, okay? You can fit this in with any other idol figure and she is honestly probably gonna look great next to them. Like I feel like this is just like such a killer pose that's gonna work so well with other figures. Like, you know, you have some figures that you love by themselves, but they're a complete pain in the ass to match with other things in your display cases. This is not the case. This feels like a well-rounded and well-balanced Ai figure, and I like that. Obviously, if any other company wants to step up to the bat and take my money for Ai, I invite the competition. But for now, Prisma Wing has got my heart on this one. This is cool. Also, just talked about this one. This is the Aniplex Marin Kitagawa Night Pool version. Since I've talked about her last, I've actually fallen out of love a little bit with her. The more that I look, the more goofy she is to me. And I don't know if maybe that's just me trying to talk myself out of buying this, but the more I look at it, the more it reminds me of a prize figure. And obviously you don't want that from something that's supposed to cost like 18,000 yen, okay? So I went through a Lycoris Recoil phase where I was like, oh my god, I just watched this show and there's a lot of really cool figure announcements for it. And I saved like 50,000 different ones, okay? It actually wasn't that bad. I think it was more like 5 or 6. But in my mind, I'm like, Love all of these. These are great. These are fantastic. Since then, I have decided that for me, Lycoris Recoil is more of a seasonal anime, where it's like, I enjoyed watching it, but it's not really gonna stick with me. And so I feel like I'm kind of half in, half out. However, this Hawaii clothes version by Kleinel is really nice. And I have heard good things about Kleinel's figures. So honestly, am somewhat excited about this. There is also a matching Takina as well. She does not have a sculpt, just a silhouette, but I think these two as a set would be really, really cute. Kadokawa also has this really cool Chisato Haragi Sugata version. I'm not a hard sell on traditional dress figures, especially like yukata, kimono, like that general area. I have a lot of kimono figures that I absolutely love. So I'm really not a hard sell on this, and it would fit well with my collection. So I feel like it's the safe option, but also, for some reason, however, the Lycoris Recoil figures that I am actually the most excited about at this very point in time is actually Fat Company's take on the mid-roll hoodies. Oh my god! Takina especially, love her facial expression. She looks like she'll step on you. She looks so bored, so over it. I love it. If they nail this and this expression, oh, you will have a happy camper over here. Chisato, less strong in my opinion, but as a set, I think these would kill. For sure. No contest. Love these. Cannot wait to see them. Oh my god. Okay, so let's talk about this, because honestly, when this was announced, the Wonhobby that this was announced, this was my top announcement. I was so excited. She looked amazing. I love the Heaven's Wheel armor, and so I was literally like, oh my god, Orca Toys come to save my life. And then the other Urza happened. And honestly, that just killed any kind of excitement that I had for this figure at all whatsoever. Honest to God, I will never ever trust Orca Toys with another dime of my money. Oh my god. If she comes out and she's nice, maybe. But honest to God, you could not pay me to pre-order this, because oh, it just, I was so thoroughly disgusted with my previous experience with this company that I just can't even bring myself to be excited for this. This, on the other hand, I am somewhat excited about. This one is the Urza Scarlet Seduction Armor version by Union Creative. Again, this is one that I'm waiting to drop in the aftermarket. However, she does come out in my birthday month, so I might just break down and buy her as a birthday gift for myself. But you already knew, it's Urza. The bar for what I will pre-order for Urza is so low. So low. This one I talked about last week as well. This is the Taito cheerleader Miku. She's adorable. Probably gonna end up with this figure in my collection. Like, I don't want to be buying prize figures, okay? They're like the fast fashion of the figure community. But I love cheerleader figures, and she's so freaking cute. So I will probably end up with this one, I'm not gonna lie. Miyuki's Komi-san. You guys know I love Komi, and I have really, really wanted a good figure of her. This is the closest I feel like we've ever gotten to like a really, really just like, that's Komi figure. I don't really like any of the other ones, I guess, so this one is the closest that I've gotten so far, and I do genuinely think that she's very cute. I'll be mad if they bring this to exhibition again, to be honest, because they should just put her up. She's been painted for forever. Just put her up, please. I'm kind of at the point where like, I don't really care how much she's gonna cost, which is a rarity these days for me, so Miyuki better not be playing around, okay? I have all three of the remaining Apex KDA figures. I've got Evelyn here. Very, very cool. Obviously, we're not gonna get the Lambo. Like, I feel like that would just be kind of crazy, but love her, super cool. Kaisa, amazing as well. This is gonna be a very butt-heavy figure, so they gotta get it really, really right. And of course, the one that's up for pre-order right now, Akali. Usually my least favorite of the bunch. And honestly, I'm not 1000% sold on buying the set anyways. I already have Ari, okay? So it's like, part of me kind of feels like I want to finish out the set, and then another part of me is like, save the money. Because to be honest, Ari is not like one of my most favorite figures in my collection. And so I'm like, am I just kind of trying to spend myself into feeling like Ari was worth it? Or do I actually just genuinely want the set? Because they're cool, but I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm there yet, and I don't know. I think the only thing we've got left is Nendo's, which is gonna be pretty easy to be honest because I'm not a Nendoroid girly. You guys know this about me. But the first one that I have in the Nendo category is the Murankitakawa Nendoroid. Honestly, I've always thought that this one was cute, and I really did consider pre-ordering it, but I just didn't bite the bullet. I felt like it wasn't worth it at the time. And I still somewhat feel like it's not worth it. Like, I'm not gonna be out there hunting to try to buy her tomorrow, but this one faceplate of hers with the heart eyes, every time I look at it when I'm thinking about putting this figure off of the list, I look at this faceplate and automatically I'm like, no. Nah, this is it. This is everything. And I can't bring myself to buy her. I can't bring myself to not buy her. So I'm just like, I'm straddling the fence. Another draft, the Kaya Nendoroid from Genshin Impact. We're never gonna get these. It's been like 2 years. We're just never gonna have them. Genshin must just be caught up in licensing hell because honestly, like aside from that Apex announcement of Hu Tao that we just talked about, Genshin been dry. Like Honkai's getting, Blue Archive, Girls Front, like all these other gacha games are eating. But not Genshin Impact. Even though it's like equally as popular, if not more popular. So I don't know what's going on there. Love Kaya. Wish that we could ever see this, but I doubt that it's ever gonna come to fruition. Fingers crossed for this Wonhobby because honestly, that's my last hope for him. Speaking of last hopes, I also have my last hopes out for the Urza Scarlet Nendoroid, which is really unfortunate because they started the set. Natsu and Lucy have Nendoroids. They announced this so freaking long ago, and Max Factory has not put out anything about it, so honestly, I have fears that she's been canceled. If I don't see her this Wonhobby, I'm gonna just assume that it's been canceled, and I'll have to mourn her. I have thought to myself, though, that if her faceplates and accessories are good, I would buy multiples of this Nendoroid. Which is absolutely psychotic behavior for sure, but if they want my money, they can come and get it. And the last 4 I have here are the remaining Ouran High School Host Club Nendoroids that I don't have. So Haruhi, of course, as well as Kyoya. I do already have Tamaki, and he was kind of the one that spurred me into wanting to purchase the set, which I am still flip-flopping on because again, I am not a Nendoroid girly, and that's a lot of money. So there's Kyoya. And we also did get, not at the last Wonhobby, but maybe the one before, the announcement for the Hitachin twins, Kaoru and Hikaru. So yeah, I mean, here's hoping Honey and Mori. I don't see why not. Honestly, can I be controversial for a second? Renge? Renge Hoshokuji, please? Oh my god, would die for a Renge Nendoroid. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Like I said before, I am participating in the bingo card Wonhobby, and this was kind of like the precursor to my quarterly Wine and Wonhobby video, so of course stay tuned for that next week. Super duper excited about that. It's something special for us, okay? So please come back next week and view that video because it always gets turfed by the algorithm. But for your reference, this is what my bingo card is gonna look like this year. But of course, as always, thanks for sticking around this long. Let me know in the comments down below what your biggest grails are. I'm always curious to know what people think about like what the top, tippity top of desire is for them. Like I'm always so curious. It really says a lot about you and your collection, I feel like. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in today, and I'll catch you on the flip side. And the flip side is next week for Wine and Wonhobby.